back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hey guys, and welcome to the first Booktube SFF Babbles topic. If you don't know what Booktube SFF Babbles is, then you may have heard me talk about the Booktube SFF Awards, and every year as part of the awards season, we do Booktube SFF Babbles. These are open to anyone. You can join in, whoever you are, in whatever format you want, whether that's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, your own video in the comments, tweets, etc. It's totally up to you what you want to do and how you want to join in. Post it on your own blog, do whatever you like. All you've got to remember is use the hashtag, and each week we do a Babbles topic, which could be anything to do with sort of science fiction and fantasy. This week's topic is going to be your favourite urban fantasy, either books or series. So I have chosen to do series, and I've only got 2 suggestions for you guys, so I'd really love, if you have any others, for you guys to leave them in the comments, because I genuinely have not read an awful lot of urban fantasy, or the ones I've read I haven't enjoyed that much. These are the only 2 that I would really strongly recommend trying. So do leave me your recommendations in the comments, please, because I obviously need to read some more. So let's start off with one of my all-time favourite series that just so happens to be partially an urban fantasy. And that is this series, the Split Worlds series, which is made up of 5 books. The first one is Between Two Thorns, the next one is Any Other Name, All Is Fair, A Little Knowledge, and All Good Things. So these are some of my all-time favourite books, and they're written by Emma Newman. Emma Newman is one of my favourite authors, but this series really cemented that love for me, because what I think Emma Newman does brilliantly is she really brings the story to life in front of you, and she does it in a way that I haven't seen many other authors do. This actually is set around a fae story, and it's something that I don't usually go for. I don't tend to enjoy fae stories really, because I find them either too twee and kind of too cutesy, or something that is just ridiculous, whereas this series really focuses on the darker side of fae life, and I really enjoyed that. So it's set in our world, and it's mostly based in England and also in the magical world. This is split up into multiple dimensions, but we follow one main character called Kathy, and she goes on various adventures throughout these 3 different worlds, ElleKayEm, Mundanus and the magical world, and Cassie's adventures are fantastic. Cassie is a girl who starts off very troubled and flawed and doesn't really know what she wants in the story, and as it goes on she becomes fantastic as a character. She really has quite a few epiphany moments. She really kind of delves deep into her soul and finds out a lot more about what she wants along the way and how she can get it. She kind of becomes very empowered by the end of the series, although terrible things do happen to her throughout, and there are some triggers for rape and things like that in this book or this series. I still think it's fantastic because it deals with the really nitty-gritty behind the scenes of how survivors exist, how people kind of carry on after terrible things, how people are affected by the events that surround them and the societies that are around them, but also how they can change things, how people coming together and uniting behind a shared belief that is just and right can really bring about change, and she does all of that in these 5 books. At the moment I believe it's a completed series, although Emma Newman has said she may return to the world at some point, but yeah, it's a fantastic series and it is one that I would thoroughly recommend you guys checking it out. I've done a full review, so if you want to know more I'll link that below and in the cards, and you guys can check it out there to find out a bit more detail. But yeah, it's one of my all-time favourite series, not just one of my urban fantasy favourites, so would thoroughly recommend. The other series that I'm going to recommend to you currently has 4 books in it, and that is the Stryker series by Rachel Aaron. The 5th book I believe comes out next month in March, so it's definitely a good time to kind of jump on the bandwagon with this series and start to enjoy it. And it's one that is just super fun, way more than any other series I've recently read. I actually kind of stumbled across this first one because the audiobook was on Audible, and I would thoroughly recommend the audiobook versions, although I'm sure that the paperback and ebook are great too. But I've been listening to these in audio format, and the audiobook narrator has won quite a few different awards. So this series focuses on 2 main characters predominantly, although we start off with just the one, and that is Julius, who is our main character. He is a dragon, but he is a nice dragon. He doesn't want to be an evil dragon. He doesn't want to slaughter humans and do terrible deeds and bribe people and manipulate people. He's not about that life. He likes being nice. He likes helping people. He likes befriending people. And he's always felt like quite an outcast because of this, because most dragons, they don't do that. So Julius is one of very few dragons in the whole history of dragonkind who has ever wanted to be nice for any reason, let alone all the time. Everyone is kind of baffled by this, and he gets a lot of flack for being this way, and we start the story where his mother has actually banished him because he is so undragon-like that she wants him to prove himself, or else she's going to take away his powers completely. So she sends him off into the human world, and there he meets all sorts of trouble, including Marcy, who is a magician or sorcerer in training. She's not really qualified quite yet, but she has some spells under her belt and she has a few ideas about magic. She is a really interesting character, and she comes into the story in a big way when she and Julius kind of end up befriending one another and going on a big epic adventure. And as the story goes on and you kind of go into the later books in the series, you realise that Marcy is also just as much a main character as Julius, because although she starts off as part of his storyline, she quickly earns her own storyline, and the two of them become equal partners and equal friends and have their own big adventures. And when I say big, I mean big, because the twists and the revelations that happen in this story are really huge and really surprising and definitely keep you on your toes throughout. It's a series that really has a sarcastic charm that works very well for me, and it's a series that I think a lot of people would love if they tried it. I honestly don't think that urban fantasy is my favourite kind of fantasy. I do struggle to kind of get immersed in a world where the world is real but the characters and the people and the beings are magical. I find it very hard to suspend my disbelief, but this series works really well for me with that, and I think the Split Worlds does as well. I would thoroughly recommend both of them because they're just a lot of fun and have some really good themes and ideas throughout. So I would love to know in the comments if you've got other recommendations for me, or if you're going to go and pick up either of these series. Please do let me know and tell me what you think. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in another video. Bye guys!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.